When I first became acquainted with Aqua Hoshino, my eyes were rolling so hard I probably looked to be out of a Mind Break manga. Here we had one of my least favorite anime character archetypes. The hyper-serious brooder with little to no personality who every single girl inexplicably falls madly in love with, but of course he doesn't care at all, because he's so intelligent and Sigma that he's purely concerned with higher matters of edgier proportions. Now aside from this obviously being deeply relatable for myself, I was strikingly unamused. It's an edgy cliche, and his habit of lying to others because he knows what's best for them better than they themselves do just pushed it over the edge for me. I was sure this self-important know-it-all would be nothing but a stain on this show. To my surprise though, he has sneakily become one of my favorite Oshi No Kos, and while I still have my hang-ups with his presentation, I consider him to be a fantastic lens to view this story through. Hell, it's getting to the point where I like him so much I just might join his harem. So let's take a look at this conflicting character and examine how we even got to this point, starting with the show's themes and how Aqua fits into them. Oshi No Ko has an intriguing thematic setup. The story famously exposes the dark side of the entertainment industry, but has a particular emphasis on the performative aspect of it all. It is a story about how a performer's dishonest behavior and lies can actually be quite admirable, especially when considering the deep corruption of the industry. Oshi No Ko at times seeks to blur the line between genuineness and performance, and I love this kind of story which calls into question the nature of what your genuine self is, and how that can change from context to context. Aqua is introduced as a doctor who loves to help others, and as a fanboy who loves to show his support. He is somebody who is deeply dishonest, but it is in service of those he cares for, and he deeply admires idols and idol culture, partially because they have this same skill set of lying. His main idol of choice is Hoshino Ai, and at a glance it's very easy to see why. She's basically a Christ figure. I mean, she's a phenomenal person, she's associated with miracles of reincarnation, she ends up dying for our sins, it's all there. Extremely self-sacrificing and inspiring to the seas of Japanese people beaten down by the brutal work culture, she represents to them a purity too good for this world. This of course is only an act though, and a few measly plot points later and Aqua dies and is reborn as her secret son. Yeah, this shit doesn't really make sense, don't think about it too hard, but Aqua starts to grow up with her as a mother. This is where things begin to get very interesting, as Aqua loves Ai and describes idols as somebody who everybody can take comfort in. To me, it seems like he's just describing the coveted mommy GF, a figure who will not only occupy your romantic longings, but will also comfort you and reassure you that everything is going to be okay. So it's interesting that he now literally has one. His paradoxical relationship has the opportunity to develop into something genuine, but as he is a baby, he's never able to be all that candid with her. The dynamic basically flips on its head. As you would expect, his love for her grows much greater as he grows up alongside her, but this development is cut short when she's stabbed in the gut by some loony. Tragically, Ai had never felt true love, and only feels she does in her final moments with Aqua, because of the fact that he is acting and lying to her, pretending to be her normal baby, which is a very cruel twist of irony. This sets up the aspect of his character that I'm the least interested in, his all-consuming desire to enact vengeance upon his mother's killer. This is his unwavering conviction, being the protective individual he is, a doctor if you will. He deeply blames himself for not being able to protect and save her. Aqua develops a personality which is very reserved and emotionally closed off. He has convinced himself that he lies to others for their own good, but in reality it is to some extent merely an emotional defense mechanism. He appears to be the ultimate fan, playing support from the sidelines and trying to pull as many strings as possible for his sister and friends, but in reality, something darker lies just beneath the surface of this supportive personality. Aqua lies to people for their own sake because he thinks he knows better than them. He is in some sense looking down on the people he cares for every time he does this, and this shift in my perception is what made his character work for me. The reason he loves Ai so much isn't merely because he wants to support her as a fan. Aqua wants to be the mommy GF.
Oh my god.
Aqua may convince himself that he is purely in show business to help others, but in reality, it's all about him. Think about his main motivation, gaining revenge for Ai. It may seem like a selfless pursuit, as he's looking out for her in one final way, But truly, revenge does nothing for the deceased and only serves to provide emotional closure to he who enacts it. And that's what Aqua is. A deeply selfish, borderline sociopath who has deluded himself into thinking his Machiavellian schemes are for the good of others when truly he looks down on them and wants nothing more than to be a star himself. Well, I'm not all that serious about that. Only partially do any of those things apply to him, and I think he's written to mostly be a good and redeemable person, but with a few psychotic tendencies to even him out a bit. What really makes the character work for me is that he can't appreciate anything that he has. He's famous and surrounded by beautiful women, but can't bring himself to actually take advantage of his opportunities because he's too edgy and brooding. He always grumbles about how little talent he has despite displaying clear ability as well. His inability to focus on the positive and accept good things makes sense though. It seems like he's always been morbidly drawn to all things miserable. His service to the chronically ill, his fixation on Ai's killer, his radical cynicism. It sucks that he's such a buzzkill, but this is what makes him work so well as an actor. This is a personality type that excels in the public eye and is bizarrely glorified. This unhealthy, in my opinion lame behavior is for some reason kinda what we all want to see. Hell, I'm watching despite supposedly thinking he's so lame, so why is that? We all lie and manipulate those around us every day in both little and big ways. It's not even always a bad thing in my eyes, but just an integral part of human communication. But those who go far out of their way to master it will excel in this world, even if they're dysfunctional and harboring questionably psychotic tendencies. Now let me be clear. Somebody like Aqua may not have friends in the real world, and in many ways he's just a nepo baby of the highest order who hasn't worked very hard for most of what he has, but his true flaw is that he's too edgy and scheming. He keeps to himself and doesn't let anybody truly know him, leaving nothing but his own mind to attack and argue amongst all the time. Anyone would drive themselves crazy doing that, no matter how cocky they are in their ability to understand the world around them. I think this is a grander point the show is seeking to make about parasocial relationships and the types of people who gravitate towards them. I think I usually hate this type of character because I do see a lot of myself in it. I am alone with my thoughts enough to where I've suspected all these things of myself as well. That I'm an extremely caring and giving individual, that I'm a raging narcissist, and that I'm just some lame normal dude and it ain't that deep. I don't know how unique Oshi No Ko's approach to this character archetype is going to be just yet, but I hope it doesn't paint him with undue reverence like many others have, and exposes his behaviors for what they really are, short-sighted and confused. I want to see a character like this actually prosper realistically, and maybe this can be the one who does it. I want to like you, Aqua. Please don't fuck it up with your edginess. But also, who cares? I'm just all like, wow, what a dark and mysterious Sigma. I see why they call him Aquamarine. Because he's just so deep, man. Almost as deep and insightful as Trey, Funky Boy Haas, Hermit's Nook, Artemis Locke, Karta, Ev, Aesop, and some goon, my lovely patrons. Thank you all, and subscribe if you like this mid-ass video. Have a good one.